now becoming one quickly in the draft world. Ladies and gentlemen, Molly McGrath.
Thank you,
Molly. Good to see you too. Hold on, Connor will get you the. Okay, you do yourself.
Pro's pro.
I just want to let you know, Connor got that for everybody else but you.
Yeah.
You take that however you want.
I was standing up, sure.
I'm a pro. I can mic myself up. I do this for a living.
Ladies and gentlemen, Molly McGrath.
Yeah, Molly.
Thank you for having me, guys. This is quite a sweet set you have.
Not bad, right?
No, it's
I
not
had to come
bad.
down here and do an actual site survey, me and a tape measure.
Right.
That's a factual statement. Like,
well, I mean, this is a home assignment for you. This is pretty sweet. This
Bingo.
is the house that Pat McAfee built.
What? Molly, you saw the wall. This actually says the building or the house that was built by these guys. These are the guys, Tony Dungy, Peyton Manning,
Yeah,
Joseph
I guess.
Adai and the boys. I was very lucky to be an Indianapolis Colt. But yeah, to your point, the people of Indianapolis run this building. So when I came down here with a tape measure, the CIB, the City Improvement Board, was like, why are we doing this? There's enough space for your show. And they're the ones that said I should do it right here. So we are incredibly lucky
That's
and
awesome.
thankful to be here. Why are you here? Now, you're part of the draft coverage, obviously, for ESPN.
Yeah, so-
but we assume you know everything about everybody because of all the college football stuff. What do you have going on this week?
It's such a great assignment. So last year was my first year covering the NFL draft for ESPN. So the guys go on stage, their names are announced, they shake Roger Goodell's hand.
They dap him, hug him.
Yeah, they jump into his arms.
Whole thing, yeah, whole thing.
And it's like the best moment of their lives. Their whole career has come up to this moment, and I'm standing there ready to interview them. And it's like the most electric interview that you could ever do. And so it's such a cool moment to be a part of. I did that for ESPN, doing it again this year. So it's an honor to be a part of such a special moment. And I know these players so well. I know their families and their moms and their girlfriends. I know, certain things like a big part of me being here this week is meeting with GMs. I'm just kind of networking, and I have a lot of great conversations
trying to get
with
their
GMs.
information.
I'm trying to get their information for coverage leading up to that moment, for coverage leading up to the draft, to do reports for our crew. And it's kind of a give and take relationship with GMs where it's like, hey, I can tell that this locker room doesn't love this guy.
Yeah.
I can tell that his teammates really love him. I can tell that this guy's really tough. Hey, coaches say he doesn't watch a lot of film.
Yeah.
So in being like with these players week in and week out with college
Molly's
football,
becoming an insider.
I'm a little bit of an
Wait a
insider,
minute.
but it's like off the record conversations with GMs, and so it's like a little bit of give and take. And
Don't go to
it's cool.
Starbucks. Insiders are brawling.
I saw Ian Rappaport at a coffee shop a couple hours back, right before he came here.
That was not a Starbucks.
And it was not a Starbucks.
No.
It was at the Westin, and I wanted to ask him if he felt safe. But he looks
Molly,
fine.
what if you would have walked up to him and been like,
What if I
I
would've
got
been
something
like,
to say to you? That would have been amazing. Well, I appreciate your professionalism and your due diligence that you're doing.
Yeah.
You feel like you know the college players very well. How versed were you with the NFL? How versed were you with the NFL and everything like that as you dove in last year, and how do you feel now?
I think that last year I was a fan of the NFL, and then when I got this assignment, I was like, all right, I need to get up to speed on team needs, GMs, coaching changes, like what these teams are looking for in the draft. Yeah, exactly. And now with a second year under my belt, I feel so much more well prepared because I approach the college football season completely differently. Every week as I'm like requesting players and talking to guys on the phone, I'm talking to all the draft prospects that these teams have. And then I'm at the games, and you go to college football games, they're GMs all over the sidelines. That's a time to really pick those guys' brains and to give them that information, and say like, hey, this guy's legit, and this guy, his teammates don't love him, he's a little full of shit. Like those kinds of moments that you can establish a relationship.
Molly, you're a weapon, absolute weapon. You are. And the amount of time that you put in, and the amount of travel, because where you live to everything.
Crazy decision
It
to do
is.
that.
No,
A crazy decision. Yeah, I make some terrible decisions.
No, you
in my
don't.
life. I
No,
truly do.
Before the boys have their questions for you,
I love it.
I need to ask
Questions?
about
Yeah.
good decision, great decision.
Okay.
Since I think the last time we really seen you, you become full mama.
Oh, yeah.
How's it
my
been?
God. Since we last worked together, I've created 2 humans.
Congrats.
Yeah, 2
Congratulations.
humans. And they both speak and walk and talk, and it's crazy. I have a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old, 2 little boys. I don't know if they're watching this, but when I have my makeup done, I'm Mama TV, and then when I'm home, I'm just like Mom, because
That's awesome.
I'm a different
You
human.
love it. So for me
It's
and my
amazing.
wife, it's the greatest. Like watching my wife mom is so cool.
Yeah.
And I heard, I think we're talking about at the beginning of with your work schedule and being a mom, we want to let you know we think you're a badass and we think it's a good thing, not a bad thing. So you need to never even
Thank
let
you.
that cross your mind. You kill it. And how you're momming from afar, at least, I've never met your kids. your husband, great dude, but like, you're crushing it, Molly, and you
Thank
should be
you.
very, 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 very proud of yourself. Now, with that being said, let's turn to the conversation. Mad Mel Kiper has one for you, Molly.
Oh, Mad Mel.
Yeah, Molly, just curious. Obviously, this you haven't been doing this a whole bunch of years. I have been doing this for 30 plus years. So
Yeah,
if
you're a
you
vet.
need any tricks of the trade, be happy to share those with you. Have you noticed when you're trying to get this information? Have you been going to the restaurants? Everyone says like, hey, nothing is figured out, or no information is passed unless these GMs and coaches have a couple booze cocktails in them,
Right.
late at St. Elmo's. So have you been doing, kind of that aspect of it, or have you been over at the convention center kind of bebopping around trying to get information that way?
It's a little bit of both. I don't know if you can tell I'm exhausted because I was up until like 2 a.m. last night.
That's
at the bar,
Indianapolis.
closing down the bar.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
that's where those relationships are established. You're having a drink and you're just getting to know people as parents, and as professionals and those kinds of things. So I'm exhausted. It's been already a long week, and we're not even halfway through it. So it's a part of that, and then it's going through the convention center, grabbing people, going up to them, saying, hey, I covered college football. I know these guys intimately. If you need to know anything, feel free to reach out to me. It can be a mutually beneficial relationship.
So we're literally watching you blossom your NFL career right now. Like, this is happening.
It's a great segue. And you know what? I covered an NFL game, one of the Monday Night Football games earlier this season, the Cardinals-Chargers game. And it's amazing how many players remember you from their college careers, and they feel like a bit of sentimentality with it, where they're like, hey, you covered me in college. How are you? I remember you. And so you kind of already know all of these athletes so well. So it's really cool. It's a great segue into covering the NFL. I think that's something I want to do eventually in my career. I love college football, especially with the playoff. There's
awesome.
no better assignment in the world than covering college football for ESPN right now. But eventually I want to start to work more in the NFL because I know these guys so well.
We'll dive into college ball at the end of this, because what an electrifying season.
Yeah.
Legit,
So much fun.
so many top 5 matchups throughout the year with the realignment and the players and more teams going in there. Herb Street, whenever he got the Thursday night job, obviously he's one of the faces of college ball, if not the face of college ball over the last 3 decades. He thought that maybe, they wouldn't take him as serious enough because he's a college guy. And I and everybody else that played in the NFL were like, Herbie, we watch game day every Saturday in every single building.
Yeah.
We all know you from college football. We're all in there. So I think there's even more of a respect for the people that covered college get into the NFL. And I think Herbie didn't believe that at the beginning. I think you should think the same thing. A lot of respect for everything you've done, because you've been there since they were kids.
Yeah.
To becoming men, and you've told their stories. You've helped a lot of people. And Herbie did the same thing. It's I think the players actually have more of a trust, and you said a sentimental value with you than maybe others. I think it's a great transition into the NFL.
Yeah, and the coaches and the players are all fans of football, so they all watch a ton of college football. So when I came to the Combine last year, the first person I see as I walk into the convention center is Andy Reid, and he points to me and goes, no, you cannot leave college football.
Okay.
And I was
That's
like, don't
awesome.
worry, coach, I'm not leaving, but thank you. And he's like, I'm a big fan of your work. And I'm like, I'm a big fan of your work.
That's
okay?
awesome.
Yeah, it was one of those cool moments where I was like, how the heck does Andy Reid know who I am?
Molly.
That was sick.
Molly,
that
biggest
was
games
a cool moment.
every year for the last, I don't want to do that whole thing, but you
Since
get
I
it.
was with you.
Bing.
The great
You
Thursday
launched
nights.
my
Yeah.
career, those Thursday nights.
Thursday night Remy's.
The Remy's. Ugh. Yeah, we grew through
Adam
that.
Amin, Matt Hasselbeck, myself, Molly McGrath.
We had a lot of fun.
It
They were
was
a lot of fun.
They
yeah,
were.
They
Where'd
were.
the lights go out? Was that Tulane or Memphis?
When the lights
The power went out.
go
East
down.
Carolina. Yeah.
East Carolina.
And East Carolina. Yeah, that's what it is right there. Yeah. And they had a gymnast, like a cheerleader gymnast,
Yep.
when the lights were out, that was doing 100 yards worth of back handsprings and backflips.
Oh, yeah, I remember
And
that.
we're talking in the booth, trying to kill time. And I'm like, I don't have enough say at this point, but we need to be showing that dude.
This is good television.
That dude
right
down there
here.
in pitch black while lights are coming back on. He might have just done 1,000 backflips, but
Yeah.
I feel like I learned a lot that season. And you were ready to be the star way before we got there on that Thursday night. I'm excited you've gotten all the recognition you deserve. Connor has a question for you.
So you saw Rap Sheet this morning. He was, probably pouting a little down. Have you been able to talk to Schefter about kind of the insider game? And have you also just been on your phone for 20 hours a day to practice kind of how much
it
you
goes.
have to actually do that?
You got to get the screen time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
ring her on, all those types of things.
So I'm not trying to be an insider where I'm trying to break news. I'm more trying to be an insider for context because I want these coaches and GMs to trust me inherently. And that's a part of covering game broadcasts, right? Like, coaches tell me stuff every week that's off the record that would be breaking news if I were to tweet it out, but I want them to know that they can trust me. So
journalism.
Yeah, capital J journalism. So these are the kinds of conversations I'm having this week where I'm being told things that are off the record that would be breaking news, but I'm not revealing it. I know it for context. I know it for how to approach my conversations with players, with other GMs, and what the teams are looking for. And then there's a lot of stuff that I'll embargo until draft day. Hey, are you cool if I don't use any of this until our draft coverage begins? And then I can reveal what you're really starting to look for. And some of them say yes, some of them say no. But it's establishing the trust. I just want them to trust me and know that I'm not going to spill their secrets or tweet anything out. I think that's the biggest value that I can bring is just to be trusted.
That's not just a big J. That's also big journalism as well.
That's right.
Yeah, that's big the entirety. And refresh my memory here, and boys, you might remember this. Didn't she start sports media school at Boston College?
I believe so.
At BC,
you actually
I did not start the sports media.
Yeah, you did.
school.
Basically.
You did something.
I started a
on the
role.
building.
I started a sports reporter role. I was the cheerleading captain, so I was sassy as hell, and went into the athletic director's office.
So what does that mean, sassy as hell? We had a lot of this.
No, I knew what I wanted to do in my career. I went to the athletic director. I went into his office, Gene DiFilippo at the time, and I said, hey, these are my goals, and this is how I need you to help me get there.
I like that.
And I'm going to create a student reporter position, and I just want you to sign off on it. I'll do all the extra work. And I had people help me get there, right? None of us got to where we are without help from other people and support. So he supported that, and I created that role, and I think it exists to this day, which is so cool.
Hell yeah, that is cool.
Yeah.
And also it takes a lot of courage, confidence, intelligence, foresight to go and create that role. And then for the execution part of it, you've crushed it. Now, speaking of college football, Andy Reid never wants you to leave. Tone Diggs has a question for you.
Okay.
Yeah, I do. So we always talk to Shefty, and I'm wondering about the difference between the sideline and then the draft role. We talk about with Shefty, how transactional all his relationships have to be with all of his sources and all these GMs and coaches and stuff like that. What is the biggest difference between those relationships and then when you're talking to the college coaches gathering information for the games? Is that more of a relaxed situation?
I think they're similar.
Yeah.
I think it's all about people that you're working with liking you, trusting you, rooting for you, trusting you with certain information. With the draft, it's obviously a little more sensitive because with these picks, there's money on the line and jobs on the line. So you want to be really sensitive. And with that, I go into conversations with GMs and I say, hey, this whole conversation can be off the record if you want. But with the coach, you don't start a conversation with the coach going into a production meeting saying, hey, this is all off the record. Usually it's all on the record unless they say, hey, don't say this. So it's a little stricter and a little tighter, I think, with the NFL, and you don't want to piss people off because you want to keep those relationships. In college football, it's a little more fair game unless you're instructed specifically not to say something.
Let's talk about college ball this past year, 12-team playoff.
It was
Started
a blast.
with 12, counting down to 1. It's how we crown a CFP national champion.
I didn't sing along, but yeah, it was awesome.
Why didn't you pay attention to the song?
Do we have?
I don't know if we have it.
I deleted that one.
Foxy, what the hell, man?
That's it all. You keep that.
Boys,
That's a next year thing.
More schools get a shot to shine. It's more games and a lot more fun. Starting with 12, counting down to 1. That's how we crown a CFP national champion. That's how we crown a CFP national champion.
Good job.
We didn't create that.
No.
That's great.
If only.
The network did.
God did.
Sounds like AI maybe helped, but I think there was some people in Nashville. But 12-team playoff. Obviously, you've been covering college ball for a long time. Your thoughts on what it added to it?
It was incredible. The 12-team playoff was so much fun.
Blowouts. I still thought it was awesome.
Okay,
college ball.
Some blowouts round one, but then the quarterfinals and semifinal games were
Agreed.
electric. You know, it was so much fun. It was a grind. It was a grind to cover every round. And you know, when you're on site for these games, like for college football, we get there. You're there for almost a week. So I just wasn't home for like a month and a half. But, you know, there are other people taking care of my children. My husband he's fully capable. I am a mother. But it was fantastic because the games were awesome. And it was so unique because I covered Notre Dame from the first round all the way to the national championship game. And when else do you get a team 4 games in a row? And you get to follow them through the course and through a run like that and get to know the coaches, the players intimately. I basically knew every player on that team really well. I'd interviewed all of them at some point. So it was really cool to be able to experience that.
Yeah, we agree. Like, we got a chance, obviously, with our simulcast Field Pass operation to be there for all the games, except for one. We had all of Ohio State's games.
It was Boise, Penn State.
Yeah, we had
Fiesta Bowl.
But you're right. Each week it was.
Yeah, we did Ohio State.
We were right
we
in
beat you guys. Sorry.
We were right
That's
in the
okay.
middle. We were right in the middle of all of it. And the reason why you're going to do so great at the NFL and why you do so great at college is because you do spend a week at all these places.
Yeah.
We fly in there day before.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
we're
not doing
going to practice.
I'm not doing games. Yeah, we're not
Yeah.
doing games. We do the field pass, but we in the booth and on the main broadcast. What was the numbers that were coming in for some of those games? 20 plus million, I think.
Massive.
Just so many games. And I think I don't want to say fatigue, but maybe viewers being new to the flow of college football in the playoffs.
And how late the games were going into January.
Bingo, yeah. So I think there's still some things that can get worked out, but man, we loved it. And it was electrifying.
And those games felt larger than life, especially on campus. The on-campus games that was my favorite. Cold, freezing cold at Notre Dame. But that was so cool to be a part of something like that.
Agreed. And the people, that's college football. The pageantry, tradition, and environments are a massive piece of the product, I think.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, the football is being played on the field. The football, it does matter. And if you're good, it's going to be better. But the environments are what make college football.
Yeah.
So them showcasing that, I think, was a big deal. Boy, it was cold, though.
It was
We were pitching hard.
Don't be soft. It's fine.
No, it was.
Were you at Ohio State, Tennessee?
I was at Notre Dame, and it was single dig. It was pretty cold, but I had an electric jacket on.
Oh,
you have to
See,
get
these are
with the
things
program.
you know that we don't.
Yeah, I know.
With
This
the
is sideline
program.
reporter info. I had an
Okay.
electric vest. I had electric gloves. Because you're
Okay.
holding a mic, your hand gets cold.
Pat didn't have gloves at all, so.
I didn't have gloves or a head.
No, he's a tough guy. He doesn't wear sleeves either.
Sure.
We're in the stadium, Lucas Oil Stadium.
It's nice
It is-
out now.
It is a beautiful time, and also spring is cracking seemingly here in Indianapolis. You tell Punxsutawney Phil to eat shit.
Sure.
Okay,
Well
he
said.
didn't think that was coming. This is the coldest winter we've had. Coldest. We're talking about how far you travel. You live in Washington.
I do. I live in Seattle. I'm crossing time zones every
That's a
3
long-
days.
Yeah, what?
It's wild. It's
Very wild.
Yeah, it's that's been tough. I think the time change is the toughest part because
Yeah.
sometimes I'll have 7 a.m. Eastern meetings. So I'm waking up at 4 and I'm on Zooms just like trying to keep my life together.
Well, you're doing a great job.
Yeah, it's fine. We're dealing with it. There might be a move in my future with my family, but it's not official
Something
yet.
just as a human that, not as much as you, but travels and works a good bit, convenience in and out of these places that is the name of the game.
It's everything.
That is you traveling back to Washington every single week is just absurd to think about. But there's only one person that can pull it off, and that's the person that walks into Boston College, says, we need this to happen, change everything, and then change the course of football coverage and your life. Molly, you've absolutely crushed it. We appreciate you so much, and thank you for stopping by. Good luck with the draft coverage.
Thank you. So good to see you guys. So good to see you in person.
Dude, yeah. I mean, only on TV and on the internet throughout this entirety.
That's our lives. It's fine. All right.
That is our
Thank you.
lives. You're
Love
the best.
you guys.